We're starting the Ezra Hashem Siman Samach Beis, Vayoel Moshe, and we're holding by the kasha that in Masechta Sukkah there's a Gemara that we're afraid the Beis Mikdash might get built on the first day Yom Tov, and that's why Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai asked her to eat Chodesh the whole second day of Pesach, because we're afraid that maybe the Beis Mikdash will be built on the first day Yom Tov. They won't have time to be makriv the Omer until late in the day, and that's why people won't be allowed to eat Chodesh the whole day. So the question was, how could the Beis Mikdash get built on Yom Tov? It's doch. There's a Gemara in Shiur Taf Tesvav says that it's not allowed to build the Beis Mikdash on Yom Tov. It's a malacha, voinen. So Rashi and Tosfos in Masechta Sukkah said because the Beis Mikdash comes down from Shemayim, so it's not going to be built by human hands, and therefore could happen on Yom Tov. The problem was that it's mashma in a lot of places that it's going to be built by human hands. It says the words Yibana Beis Mikdash. It says Mashiach is going to build it. There's a medrash that says Mashiach is going to build it. The Rambam brings that down, la halacha. So if people are going to build it, how could they build it on Yom Tov? So the Aruch LaNer, there were different suggestions to answer up the etzem steer between people building it and Hashem building it, and not all those terutzim help for the question of Yom Tov. In other words, the Aruch LaNer answers that people will begin the binyan, they'll build the frame of it, and Hashem will make the kedusha come down from Shemayim. The problem is it still involves physical building, and that physical building can't take place in Yom Tov. In Siman Samach Aleph, the Rebbe said two different ways to answer up besides the Aruch LaNer. He said that it could be that there are different scenarios, there are different possibilities about how Mashiach will come. If Mashiach comes on, early, which is on time basically, then things will happen in order. People will build the first thing, and then Hashem will come down and make the second stage. But if it happens all at the last possible moment, then maybe everything will happen at once, and then maybe the whole binyan will be the B'dei Shemayim. That was one mahalach to answer it. So according to that, we could say the Gemara in Sukkah was afraid for that last case scenario. The other shot he said was that it could be that l'havamina in the Chanami, the havamina held that it has to be that it comes down min Shemayim without any human hands. But the maskanas of Gemara is not like that. So because the Gemara in Sukkah fell off of that shot, and it said no, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was not being misakin anything new. He was just chazering over what the deraisa is. Okay, now, but the Aruch LaNer's pshat doesn't help for the question of building on Yom Tov. Okay, so v'efshar loymar oid. Now we're going to say a new pshat. V'efshar loymar oid v'hinei be'emes mashmois hazoyar hakadosh hu. The Zohar is going to be mashma that building the Beis Mikdash is b'chlal not in human hands. It's going to be completely min hashamayim. Why? Shala'asi lo yiyeh klal be'Beis Mikdash binyan b'dei adam. The future Beis Mikdash will not be built at all by people. It's only going to come down from Shemayim. It says that Rabbi Abba had a guy that came to him and he asked him a few questions, and one of the questions was, he said, Amalei Saba, he said, old man, Talas Bayan, I have 3 questions for you. And Chad, the first question is, the Atun Amrin that you say, these Bnei Lechu Bei Mikdasha Achra. You Jews say you're going to have a third Beis Mikdash. So he asked him, V'haloi havu lemivnei elatrei zimnin. There's only 2 Beis Mikdashes mentioned in Tanakh. Bayis Rishon and Bayis Sheni. Bayis Shlishi loy tishkach b'araisa. You don't find in Tanakh anything about Bayis Shlishi.
Doesn't it say in Cheskel?
Oh, that's a good question. But l'choira, he's going from a certain pasuk. If you look inside Mazoyar, you see he brings down a pasuk in Chagai. The pasuk says, "Galo yiyah bayis, kavod bayis o'achron min harishon."
Which is speaking of the second.
It's calling the second one the achron, and it's saying that's the last one, and the last kavod is going to be bigger than the first. So it's mashma that there are only 2 Bati Mikdashim. In the Chanami, Yechezkel is mashma there's the third one. But
so you can't really go to Tanakh that well.
Right? Maybe the guy didn't know that part. Okay, so but the question is, then why didn't Rabbi answer that? Rabbi didn't answer that answer. You're going to see the ones that were supposed to be built have already been built. There's never going to be another one. There are 2 psukim. There are 2 Bati Mikdashas that are mentioned in the Tanakh. V'chulu. And the v'chulu means that, look over there, you see that he brings the pasuk in Chagai. So V'yamar, Acher Kach, the Zohar says after that Milin Elaine, these things, the Shah Hu Rasha, that this Rasha asked Rabbi, Anasha Ilna Yoim Echad Eliyahu. I guess Rabbi was talking here. He said, I asked this question to Eliyahu Navi. V'yomer Eliyahu Navi answered, to have a mesiv to the Rekia, that in the yeshiva up in Shemaim, Istadru Kambe Dekud Shabrichu. They asked this question to HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Why it says that in the pasuk?
Why does the pasuk say that there are only two Bati Mikdashim?
The last one, yeah.
Yeah. V'hachi hu, and this is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu answered. The kad nafku Yisrael Mitzrayim. That when the Jewish people came out of Mitzrayim, Ba'akud Shabrichu Lemebad Loin Be'ara Kemalachim Kadishin. That Hashem wanted to make them like Malachim.
Kal Yisrael?
Yeah. And He wanted the Beis Hamikdash to come down from Shemaim. He didn't want them to have to build anything by human hands. So, Kemalachim Kadishim Le'ela. Uba Lemibnei Loin Beis Kadisha. He wanted to build the Beis Hamikdash himself. Ulenachsa Loin Migoy Shmei Rekin, and to bring it down from Shemaim. Okay, the Anasar, in what place? In the place that Hashem has picked for the Beis Hamikdash, which is the Har Moriah. In that place that you Hashem made it. No one else. The Darshan, the pasuk is saying, one lashon for the first Beis Hamikdash and one for the second. The Tarvayu, but both of these Bati Mikdashes is Umenusa Dekud Shabrichu Inun. They're going to be built by Hashem Himself. Okay, so that was the original plan. But when they made him angry, and the Zohar says they made him angry in the Midbar. This is talking about the first Beis Hamikdash. So before they went into Eretz Yisrael, they made him angry. So Ubesa Ispenei Al Yidah de Barnash. That's why the Beis Hamikdash was built by human hands. Begin kach lo iskaim. That's why it wasn't a lasting Beis Hamikdash, right? Now, b'yoymoy de Ezra. Now, what about the second one? So, in the time of Ezra, garam cheta, the chet caused that then they were also chayte. So, the Averis caused that they were also built by human hands. V'yitztarchun inun lemivnei v'loy have a bei kiyuma, and it didn't have a kiyum. V'ad kan, and until this place, binyana dekud shabrichu loy have a bei alma. There's never been the binyan of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in this world. Ulazimna de asi, but in the future Beis Hamikdash, ksiv b'nei Yerushalayim Hashem. Hashem is going to build it. Ihu v'lo yachra. Him and no other. U'binyana da anan mechakon. That's the binyan that we're waiting for. V'loy binyana de barnash. Not the binyan built by a human. The less bei kiyuma, because that has no permanence. Klal. Okay, the afilu karta de Yerushalayim loy leheve umnusa de barnash. Even the whole city of Yerushalayim can't be built by human hands. V'chulu. Kol shekain based at the Iur delay. So all the more so the Beis Hamikdash, which is Hashem's house. Ad kan l'shoyin hakadosh hatzarich l'inyanenu yuin sham. Okay, umidakos of lashon Hashem yivnet iu v'loy achra. From the fact that it says Hashem and no other. So we had before the Aruch LaNer said, okay, the Gemara says that Hashem will build it and Mashiach will build it. So it's not a steer. Mashiach will start, Hashem will finish, whatever. But here it says a lashon Hashem yivnet v'loy achra, no one else. So it's mashma that there won't be any human involvement. Yeah. V'gami, the cost of the tarts was akushya. Also the fact that the Zohar is coming to answer a question here. Why is the Bayis Shlishi not mentioned in that pasuk? Yan shelo yiyeh nivna al yidei adam. Since it's not going to be built by human hands, so that's the teretz that the Zohar is saying why the pasuk doesn't mention it. So if people are going to be involved in the Bayis Shlishi, then the kasha is not an answer. The kasha is not answered. So Mikol Zeh Mashma, from all this we see that Shelo Yiyeh Klal Binyan B'dei Adam B'Bayis Shlishi. There will be no human involvement whatsoever. Uv'divrei Zohar Kadosh Ho'elu Meturitz Masha Niskasha V'Yismach Moshe Anal Al Kosiv Tiviyemoi. That the Agav, there's the Yismach Moshe on this pasuk. He mentioned at the end of the last Siman a little bit, but he says a little more. He says that Chazal Darshan over there that Ad Yavram Kol Hashem Ad Yavram Zukanisa. One's going on the first Beis Hamikdash, one's going on the second Beis Hamikdash. So he says, "Masha darshu chazal b'zeh bia rishayna u'shniya u'bia shlishi so ikris loy huiskra klal." Why don't Chazal mention the third bia in that drasha? The herich l'taretz, it goes on at length. Gam atzlach b'mesech the bracha sham iskashu b'maimar zeh the herich l'taretz. Atzlach has the same question. But over divrei hazoya kol shoelim mavur hateret shaloi huskar ela binyan bidei adam. That from this zoyar you see that the Bayis Shlishi will be b'dei Shemaim, and this pasuk is only talking about binyan b'dei Adam. Loi mashav lam Shemaim. Okay. Ulam kedei l'taretz gama makoyim shenir mehem sheyivnu Yisrael Bayis Beis Hamikdash l'Asid. There are places where it's mashma that the Yidden will build the Beis Hamikdash. Kedei Isa b'medrash Rabbah Seder Tzav, Parshas Tzav, Perek Tes Sim involved Melech HaMashiach. That there's a pasuk in Shiur Shirim, I think it's the end of Daled Shiur Shirim, it says, Uri Tzafoin, Uboy Siman. Wake up north and come to the south. So the Medrash Darshans, Mashiach is going to be B'Tzafoin, he's going to be in the north, and he's going to come down and build the base of Mikdash, which is in Dharam. Don't ask me what it means that Mashiach is in the Dharam, in Tzafon.
Because Mashiach will be revealed.
Oh, so maybe
Tzaf was Lashon of hidden. Because in the north, the sun is hidden. Now that's where it's revealed.
Okay, that's a good point.
Dharam is Lashon of Rog, because the sun is exalted in the south.
Okay, we'll be Yishalmi Megillah Perek Aleph, Halacha Yud Aleph.
Marav Tufka Shetzafan L'Riyacha.
Right. Tzafon means hidden, right.
Yeah.
So the Yishalmi Megillah has the same, it's going on the same pasuk, Uri Tzafon Boi Seiman, and it says a different shot. It says Lichshis Oiru Agalius, that when the Yidden who are in Galus get up, Shehein Nesunis B'Tzafon, that they're in the north, where they're hidden, V'yavoyu V'yivnu Beis HaMikdash Hanasim B'Darim. Could also be that the Galus started with Bavel, and Bavel is considered the north.
No, east actually.
No, but the Gemara always says
it's called Marva because it's
to
west
go
of
to Bavel from Eretz Yisrael, you got to go north, and then you turn to the
really,
east.
That's it?
So the pasuk in Yirmiyahu starts out Mitzafon Tipasach Hara. From the north, Nebuchadnezzar is going to come.
Really?
Even
that's northeast of Eretz Yisrael.
Northeast, but they came down.
Eretz Yisrael is called Marva, not like it's called western, not called southern in the Gemara.
That's true. Anyway, V'yavoyu V'yivnu Beis HaMikdash.
Why about Rome? Why did Rome call it? Because Rome too is northwest of Eretz Yisrael.
It's to the west, right? But it's not really north so much. It's more to the west.
I would think Rome is more north than Bavel.
So these two midrashim, when put together, the Medrash and the Yerushalmi, the Medrash says Melech HaMashiach is going to do it. The Yerushalmi says it's going to be the Goliath. When put it together, you see that the common denominator is people are going to do it, not Hashem, right? Melech HaMashiach im oile Goliath.
But still, it's not a proof to Zionism because the Mashiach will do it.
Yeah, of course, okay.
It's not a proof to Zionism anyhow, because they'll try to use this. It says Mashiach. It doesn't say that some Rishonim will build it.
Okay, we're not talking about. Okay, but anyway, the point is that there's a steer now because the Zohar are saying that Hashem will build it, and these midrashim are saying that people will build it.
Yeah.
And the Zekadivrei Rambam, these midrashim follow. They fit well with the Rambam. Shemelech HaMashiach Yivnei Beis HaMikdash. Yeah. So Ef Shaloimar, we could say the teretz the Av Sheyivnu Kohen Beis HaMikdash, even though these people are going to build the Beis HaMikdash, Mikomakom Kishiyavai Acherkach Tekef L'Sham Habayis Habanim Meshulcham Yimunus Shal Kodesh Baruch Hu, that after the people build it, Hashem's Beis HaMikdash is going to come down from Shemaim, and then Yisbatel B'Soichai Abinyan Habani B'Di Adam. That whole thing that people built is going to vanish. There's not going to be that Beis HaMikdash anymore. Only what Hashem built. Like when you have a candle and then you bring a big torch, the whole candle is batel. So the only Beis HaMikdash we're going to have after that point is the one built by Kodesh Baruch Hu. Like the Zohar. They won't use this Beis HaMikdash built by humans. Okay, that's why the pasuk doesn't mention Bayis Shlishi in that pasuk in Chagai, even though there will be a Bayis Shlishi, but it won't last. Okay, so then why taka do we have to build that little human effort at the beginning? Like, what's the point of it? If Hashem is going to bring something else, and it's going to come down.
Yeah.
So he says, "Umashi Tarchu Yisrael Livnoisei Efshe Shehu B'Shvil L'Zakos Es Yisrael B'Mitzvahs Binyan Beis HaMikdash," just to get the mitzvah. If they do their job, then Kimu mitzvah, they were Mekayim the mitzvah. It's one of the Tariyah mitzvahs, right? Building Beis Mikdash. So they do it and they get the mitzvah. Or it could be that the hisoirus has to come from below, and then Hashem will bring down the Beis Hamikdash from above, but only when we start the process. All right, but we're talking about the third Beis Hamikdash.
Third.
So at that time, when Mashiach is supposed to come, why do we have to build it? We're saying we have to have some hisoirus. Or it could be there are other reasons that we don't know about. There are a lot of things that we don't know about the mitzvahs. They are hidden from us. So there's a pasuk that Hashem's thoughts are not our thoughts, so we don't always understand the reasons for the things, but that could be that we have to build something first and then Hashem will come and be mevatel it. Alright, now now we can understand why the Rambam and the Tosfos Yontif say that there's not going to be, that we don't know how to build the Bayis Shlishi. Right? She'ein mitzias v'anu livnos Beis Hamikdash ki lo biru Chazal psukei Yechezkel. The Chazal don't explain what Yechezkel says about Shebabinyan Abayis. V'lo inoid alanu ha'eich livnoisai. So the question was, Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Shua ben Chananya, mashma b'divrei Chazal shehaya mitzias livnoisai. Yeah?
Yeah.
Was that. He said that in the time of Rabbi Shua ben Chananya, about 40 years after the Churban, there was a tzad that they were going to build a Beis Hamikdash.
But the Masorah still existed.
Right.
But it was lost at the time of the Bavli.
That's good. So in Siman Samach, that's what he answered. That the Masorah existed up to that point, and now we lost it. Okay? But we didn't really explain why we lost it. He just said that Chazal decided that that's not going to be done anymore. But why did they decide that? So now he's going to say we have a good answer for that. We can explain why they decided.
We shouldn't try to build it.
Oh, because Hashem's going to build it. Listen, well, the fi divrei Zohar Hakadosh shehektakti kan this Zohar shal Rabbi leEliyahu hach kushya, that there was a point in time that Rabbi didn't know the answer to the question. The guy came and asked him, "What about Bayis Shlishi?" Rabbi didn't know what to answer, so he went to Eliyahu and he asked him.
Why was that guy a Russia daf? Why would I say this Russia? Who was this guy exactly? And what made him a Russia?
I don't know.
Maybe he was one of those Christians who tried to make fun of Jews. It's possible.
Yeah, he
could have been a Christian, if he read through the Christian version of the Tanakh.
Could be. So he asked Eliyahu the question. Eliyahu asked. He told him what happened in Mesivta Turkiya, and that's when they first found out that there was going to be a Bayis Shlishi min Hashemayim. Until then, they didn't know that. Okay, so. Eliyahu revealed to him the secret that the third Beis Hamikdash won't be built by people, it will be built by Hashem. Nimsa. So we see from this that the Cohen Shashal Shalazu, before Rabbi asked the question, he thought that the people would build Bayis Shlishi.
Rabbi
thought that, and everybody thought that. If he thought that, and probably all the Amoraim thought that.
And the guy must have reasoned that it won't be like human hands again.
So listen, so he says, Bayis Shlishi lavoid b'avoida k'moy b'batim rishonim. Af terem shiagia hazman sheyavoy acher kach tekef habayis habanim meshuchol milamala. But they had such a Masorah that Hashem is Shalom Yishalom Amavir Sabeira. He'll be the one to bring down the Beis Hamikdash min Hashemayim. They knew that, but they also held that people will build the Beis Hamikdash first. So v'lachein ha'yisvara b'mei Rabbi Shua ben Chananya sheyesh mitzias v'binyan Beis Hamikdash. That's why before Rabbi's time there was such a svara to build the Beis Hamikdash.
Rabbi was in the Maamar already.
Yeah, or maybe he was a late Tana.
I do believe he was in the Maamar.
Yeah.
Because Rav and Shmuel, Rabbi Yochanan and Shalosh were the earliest Tanaim, who were Rabbi Yochanan and Rav Shmuel to be them of Rabbi.
Okay. Anyway, Mashenkin Misadre and Mishnah ve'Ashas, when they came to write down the Mishnah in the time of Rebbe ve'Ashas, Shahayu Achar Shenis Gal Lahem Al Yidei Eliyahu. They came after this story in the Zohar with Eliyahu and Avizal. Pirusha Dekra Shelo Yeh Oid Beis Hamikdash B'Oifen Zeh, that there won't be any more Beis Hamikdash built by people. El Be'ez Kate Shiagia Hazman Lebinyan Beisoy. When the time comes to build the Beis Hamikdash, Shal Kodesh Baruch Hu May Umanusa delay. It's going to come down from his own building, right? So then Shuv Loi Dibru Mizeh. That's when they stopped keeping track of how to build the Beis Hamikdash. V'Loi Biru Oid Oifen Abinyan. because they didn't need to anymore once they heard that Gilui from Eliyahu Navi. V'chein b'mishnah b'perek hey the Meister Sheni. Oh, so now we get back to that Meister Sheni, that Mishnah that said that it's possible that Beis Hamikdash will be built before Mashiach. Also, same thing. That's only up till a certain point that Chazal held that way. But then after this Gilui, they changed. He says, this whole Mishnah was written before the question was asked. Why did they leave the Mishnah in Shas afterwards? That we have a rule that once a Mishnah is memorized by everybody, it's not taken out. Because even if there's a Mishnah Achroina that's chayzer from it, we still leave the first Mishnah there. Many times the Gemara says this. Okay, so basically, to sum it up, what do we have here? We have that in Samach Aleph, he said, the Aruch Laner's teretz, we're going to build it first, and Hashem's going to bring down the Ruach into it. Then the Rebbe's two terutzim were that there are two scenarios, Bias HaMashiach early or Bias HaMashiach late, and you could say the Maskanos the Gemara doesn't hold like that. And Samach Beis, now he's saying in a third teretz that the Beis Hamikdash will be built by people as like just to be Makayim the mitzvah, and then Hashem will come down and be Mevatel what they built. But all of these pshatim agree that people will build something. I mean, this pshat at least does, Samach Beis. So the question is, then how is it going to happen on Yom Tov, right? Now we're back to the square one on that question. Rashi, Toisvis, I think it's the Ritva, who say Shekasvu the binyan ha'asid efsher she'iyeh bani b'yantif. They say it could happen on Yantif. Yan she'yavim min shamayim. Adayin einu maturitz. L'fi da'aseh oimrim she'iyeh koyem eis binyan b'di'adam. It's not going to be answered up now because we're saying that there will be something done by people beforehand. Ki yiyeh ech she'iyeh. Whatever kind of binyan this is that's done by people, after the mashe kasavnu l'mayla mikol makom, after the mashe kasavnu l'mayla, even though we said before that binyan will be bottled immediately, right? Mikol makom ein heter livnois klal b'yamtiv. You still have no heter to build it on Yom Tov. L'fi das Rambam, according to the Rambam. Now the Rambam paskins in Beis Bechira that binyan by Beis Hamikdash is not derech Yom Tov, right? The Siyasei, the Rambam, and those who hold like him, who pashtus divrei Hashash sheyesh binyan iser. Sheyesh b'binyan, that there is in the halachas of binyan is the deraisa. He's referring back to what he said in Samach Aleph. Remember, the Aruch Laner wanted to say that binyan could be derabanan. Right? He said that baking cheese is binyan, and since on Yom Tov you're allowed to make cheese, and he said mitoich shehutu l'tzarich, hutu shaloi l'tzarich. So binyan becomes the isser derabanan, and so for the Beis Hamikdash it's much to do it, and that was the whole mahalach of the Aruch Laner. But he's saying now that the Rambam doesn't paskin like that. The Rambam paskins that binyan on Yom Tov is aser midiraisa, and building the Beis Hamikdash on Yom Tov is aser. So according to him, you're not going to have an answer to this kasha. So on the next three Simanim, the Rabbi is going to spend a lot of time on this kasha. Samach Gimel, Samach Daled, Samach Hey, goes on for many pages here to answer up this problem.